Hello friends, welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to an intro to Feathers v4. Oh, it's behind my let me fix that. So as you can see, there's a new logo. My friend Cassandra designed it for me. So thanks to Cassandra. We can go down. There we go. Cool. Yes, so today is going to be a video where I talk about Feathers v4. Now, I am not at all prepared, so this is going to be a very casual live stream, and the idea is, after I go through things and build things, I'm going to come back and edit it, make some shorter videos, and those videos will eventually make it to the guide on the Feathers.js website. Let's say hello to all the wonderful people in the chat. And actually, just before I do that, I want to get that logo on this machine, just so I can have it open, because it's pretty cool. Just a second. Okay, here we go. Let's say hello to all the people in the chat. Hello, Santhos Ragav, welcome to the stream. Hello, Kaglar. I'm not going to pretend I know how to pronounce those characters, but Kaglar, welcome to the stream. And it looks like you opened an issue on GitHub. I'll take a look at that. Hello, Andreas. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Merit-chan. Hello, Katoli. Hello, Sandeep. Hello, Ruchir. First time joining, welcome. Hello, Hexception. Hello, Christian. Hello, Raphael, who says, oh, feathers? Yes, we're going to talk about feathers today. Hello, Nessie, welcome to the stream. Hello, Andreas, who says, nice logo. Thank you, thank you. Hello, there's another Andreas. Welcome to the stream from Hamburg, Germany. That's great. Hello, Alana. Hello, Man on the Run from Greece. Hello, Vias. Hello, Mayur. Hello, Yasser. Hello, Rasha. Hello, Theme Tractor. Welcome to the stream. Yes, it is live now. I was running late. I didn't get much sleep last night. Like I said, I'm not prepared, but we're gonna hang out. We'll make it work. Hello, Carlos. Mohammed says, fantastic logo. Yes, big props to Cassandra. We were trying to figure out like what would make sense with the Feathers logo, because their logo is literally just this feather. If you go to their website, it's just the feather. Version v4 is codename Crow, so this is a crow. And we were trying to figure out like how could it be in the garden, and now you have this like wreath thing that has multiple flowers growing off it. I don't know, it kind of works. Hello, MMO Jib from Saudi Arabia. That's great. Welcome. Hello, Shantano. Can you show the mouse you are using? Yes, I can. This is a vertical mouse. It has DPI adjustment, but I've talked about it on a past stream, but basically instead of like when you use a regular mouse, your wrist is like this, and this is like an unnatural position. It can cause strain, but when you use a mouse that's like this, it's a more natural position, so it's that. If you just search for a vertical mouse on Amazon, you can see different kinds on there. They all work pretty much the same way. Hello, Satya. Hello, Abdur. Hello, Rita. Hello, Amadou. Hello, Bahashaja 007. Finally, a stream for Europeans. Yes. Amit says, thanks for doing this, buddy. You're very welcome. Hello, Sam Baking. I was going to say Samba King? Maybe it is Samba King. Hello. Hello, Raphael. What's feathers? We're going to talk about it. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Hello, Ashwin from India. Santos Ragov, hello. Jens, greetings from Belgium. Ludovic, hello. Hello, Abunga. Samos Ragov says, can you please make one more project on Svelte? Yes, definitely. Maybe not anytime soon, but yes. Yes, I will. Hello, Crypto from France. Khan says, flowers and birds seems like 4. Yeah. Hello, Harsh Patel. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Jan from Norway. Cool. So, like I said, I'm extremely unprepared, but ultimately what's going to happen is I'll do these videos, they're then going to be edited down, and then they'll be much more consumable. But for now, we can hang out, you can call out any of my mistakes, that kind of thing. So, this is Feathers. I think informally I'll talk about it, and then maybe I can do like a canned version where I say things a little bit better. But Feathers is a framework for real-time applications and REST APIs. So, yes, and recently version 4 was released. If you look on my channel, there was a Q&A with the creator and core maintainer, David. So he talked all about version 4 and answered a lot of all of your questions. But Feathers essentially allows you to create APIs that can either be RESTful or real-time. It comes with tons of pre-built database adapters, so you can create an API that talks to Mongo, an API that talks to Postgres or MySQL, and there's many, many others. And essentially it'll create an API for you, but at the same time, it also provides a client library for communicating with that API. So it's kind of like an all-in-one package. That client library can work with TypeScript, with React or Vue, or pretty much anything that's on the client side, and you can communicate with your backend. It has a pretty interesting way of structuring things. Instead of the typical MVC, it uses services and hooks, and I'll show all about that. Like I said, I'm a bit scatterbrained today. But ultimately, what we're going to be doing is going through the getting started guide, and we're going to build a simple Feathers app. But I'm out of it. I'm telling you, I'm tired. I'm not ready for this, but it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. And I may have to do things more than once because we are going to edit it. So this will be interesting because I normally don't do that on my stream. Hello, Liam says love your streams. Keep it up. I will try. Hello, Carlos. Khan says, I mean, the Feathers 4 logo is so meaningful with this logo. Kappa. You might be on mobile. Anish, hello. Satya is asking, what is a REST API? A REST API. So first, if we look at just what is REST, stands for representational state transfer, and it's really just a description of how a web API might work. Not all APIs you deal with are REST APIs. Some of them are like kind of REST, but ultimately it is a web service that you can make requests to get data, or you can send data to. And most applications we build nowadays have some sort of API on the back end. But REST is one way of doing things. Like I mentioned, Feathers can do it with sockets as well. Okay, first thing we need to do is make a plan. What are we going to do? I guess we'll probably talk about, in a more formal fashion, what is Feathers.js. We can look at their guide, or at least their page to give us some bullet points on what we're going to talk about. And it'll be great. It'll be like I know what I'm talking about. Like I'm going to present it for you. So it is a web framework. You can build APIs. It supports multiple protocols, those being REST or sockets, and REST is implemented via Express. Soon in coming, you'll have an implementation for like Koa or an implementation for Happy. What else? Yeah, here you go. See what makes Feather special. Built for JavaScript and TypeScript. We can definitely mention that. Data store agnostic. Yeah, so we'll talk about database adapters. What else? There are plugins. Yeah, it's truly universal. Same library for both client and server. All right. Service oriented. So this gets into the idea of like services and modifying them with hooks. Instant real-time REST APIs. Feather provides instant CRUD functionality via services, exposing both a RESTful API and real-time backend through WebSockets automatically. Okay, so there's that. Now, Shantana is asking, what are we building? I'm giving an intro to Feathers, and then we're going to build a basic chat app. Raphael is asking, can we use Feathers with mobile apps like React Native and stuff? Absolutely. So ultimately, React Native, it is React, but you're just using JavaScript, so you can actually use their client-side JavaScript library to communicate with a backend Feathers service. Mozam is asking, what keyboard are you using? This is a fairly inexpensive mechanical keyboard. If you look on Amazon, any mechanical keyboard, like under $35, will probably be very similar to this one. It does have replaceable keys, but... Amato asked the same question, can we implement Feathers with React Native? Yes, you can. I speak English is saying, can you explain the difference between MVC and Feathers? We can do that as well. I think, so potentially how I want to break this down and the videos that I'm going to create. So we'll have one video that is like intro, like what is Feathers? And part of that can be talking about MVC because it doesn't implement the MVC pattern, so we can kind of talk about how it does things. So we can have like, so we'll have what is Feathers. So I had my outline on the previous thing, but in here we'll say like what is MVC / how is Feathers different. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Now, what do we think? Should I create a slide deck? Should I just point at the docs when I'm talking about this stuff? Yeah. Carlos is saying another chat app. We're actually just going to build the chat app that is listed in the Feathers guide. We're basically going to follow these steps exactly. It's just going to be the CJ version of that. Okay, so what is Feathers? We can talk about MVC. I guess one thing to note is if you look at the guide, it does talk about prerequisites. Yeah, after setting up. Yeah, prerequisites. Might be good to potentially just do like a small short video on prerequisites. Like we're not gonna teach you how to write JavaScript, but we are gonna mention what is required to even work with this stuff. So yeah, like what you should know. So prerequisites is node/npm installed. Familiarity with JavaScript/ES6. What else? Familiarity with async await. Promises/async await. Yeah, so the module system, so node and npm, familiarity with JavaScript/ES6, especially modules and how to like require modules in and things like that. Some familiarity with HTTP and REST APIs, as well as WebSockets is helpful but not necessary. That's good. So we'll call this like nice to have. HTTP and REST APIs, as well as WebSockets. What else? Feathers works standalone, but also provides an integration with Express. This guide does not require any in-depth knowledge of Express, but some experience with Express can be helpful in the future. So another nice to have is some experience with Express. Okay. I think that's good. And I think that'll be like the first little quick snippet video that I do. Like, what are the things you need to have before you get into this guide? Cool. Amado is asking, have you contributed to Feathers? I've contributed to the docs. The day after launch, I found a few broken links, and I made a pull request and got accepted. Yeah, Amita's saying TypeScript support is new for Feathers. Would be helpful if that could be covered. What I might actually do is potentially record 2 versions of each section to show JavaScript and TypeScript. I think I'm going to do JavaScript first, and then we'll decide if I want to show TypeScript as well. But that being a big feature of Feathers, it might actually be good to do. It does seem like it's a slightly more involved setup because you do need like the TypeScript runtime. Yeah. I think I'm going to do it first with JavaScript, then we'll talk about it and see if it needs to be done with Feathers. Okay. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a super basic slide deck that goes through these points, and then I'm going to make a video on it. So let's do this. We're going to make a folder called slides. In here, I'm going to make a new file and call it prereq. And the first slide is just a title that says prerequisites. Does prerequisites have a dash in it? Prerequisites to working with Feathers.js. Cool. For this, I'm going to use a tool called RevealMD. You might have seen this, seen me present slide decks before, but I'll show you how I set that up. Let's just initialize this as an npm package. And then we're going to install reveal-md. Oh no, a high security vulnerability. Doesn't matter that much. I'm not going to publish this or put it on the web. Cool. Let's look at the RevealMD docs because there's a particular theme that I like. This thing. Cool. Themes. See the available themes. You know what? I can look at one of my previous slide decks to see what theme I prefer. Let's go to my GitHub profile. And like I mentioned, if you're just joining, this is going to be a very scattered stream, but the result of all of it are going to be videos that are going to be nice and edited down. So you can kind of see my process in this so far. And also the fact that I'm very unprepared. Okay, I think this has a slide deck in it. Yes, these are the command options that I like. Amado is asking, what's the difference between RevealMD and RevealJS? RevealMD uses RevealJS under the hood, but it allows you to write your slides as Markdown and automatically converts them into HTML, which is what RevealJS supports. Okay. So let's add a start script. So I like the night theme, the hybrid highlight theme. We'll start on port 1337. Right now I don't have any custom scripts or styles. And if we just start it up, it should give us the option to choose a slide deck. Let's go. Okay, for now, let's do slides/prereq.md. Nice. So we have a slide deck. You can see the title slide. Where'd my code editor go? This is way too big, so we can use Markdown to break it down to like a heading 3. There we go. That's pretty nice. We could add the Feathers.js logo. Let's do that. Ooh, it's transparent. May not look that great, but let's do this. So because we are in Markdown, we could actually do something like that. Let's see what happens. Yeah, but it does that. I want to add some custom styles so I can give it like a white background, maybe some padding. So instead of using the markdown style, I can actually just do it with HTML. So we'll throw an image tag, set the source to be that. And then we'll say class equals feathers dash logo. Then I need some custom styles. And we can see we can bring in those styles with the -- CSS command. So there's our package JSON slide/styles.css. And we gave it a class of feathers -logo. So let's say background is white, border is none, and padding is 1 rem. We'll need to kill this and restart it so we actually get those styles to kick in. Let's see. We told it to use slide/styles.css. And feathers -logo is the class. Feathers -logo is the class. Let's see if it's even getting loaded into the browser. I realize this is turning into how to create a slide deck. But like I said, I'm extremely unorganized today, so we're just going to roll with it. Yeah, this is being overwritten by the built-in style, so I think we'll just add important. Why does my VS Code keep disappearing? Look at that. Okay, so the logo is in there, so now we don't need to say feathers. We can just say prerequisites to working with feathers. Great, we made a slide. Can I get some excited emojis in the chat? Carlos is asking, did you fix the bug on the P5.js web editor? We did not. We debugged it again, and I say we because it was definitely a team effort. Linus Dev was helping a lot. We figured out ultimately that it's not technically possible to fix it the way that other errors are being handled. So we left some comments, but ultimately didn't come up with an exact fix. Hello, Beerus, who says, what's up, beautiful people? And hello, Domenico, welcome to the stream. Does prerequisites have a dash in it? Prerequisite? Am I spelling that right? It looks right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Crypto is saying important sad face. The thing is, like, we could potentially try to target it a little bit more directly, but we're overriding styles that are specified by reveal MD. Let's try this. If I do like image.feathers logo, maybe I can leave off the important. No. Actually, I mean, maybe if I gave it an ID instead of a class, I could leave off the important. So here I can do ID equals feathers logo. Yeah. So by targeting by ID, that is more specific than the built-in styles, and then I don't have to use important. So we can do that. Cool. The only issue with that is if I have multiple feathers logos in my slide deck, then I'm going to have multiple things with the ID feathers logo, which is also not valid CSS. Okay. Great. I'm going to add a full screen background to this thing. So if you give me just a second, I have a bunch saved. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Cool. So a question in the chat from Zuber. How efficient is it to use feathers on the front end or back end? Is it only for real-time alternative? No, so you can use feathers strictly with just a REST API. Hopefully I'll be able to show that. You don't have to use the real-time feature of it if you don't want to. The cool thing about it is you kind of just get it for free. You add one line of code and it instantly adds that specific transport for you. And in terms of, is it efficient? It's just as efficient as any other JavaScript library you're going to be using on the front end or the back end. I'll say that. Samagra is asking, why did I use ID? It's specifically because of CSS specificity. So in CSS, different selectors have a different specificity. That's a whole nother topic, but ID usually has the highest specificity. So by giving it an ID, then I didn't have to use important. But like I mentioned earlier, now multiple things might have that ID, which isn't correct. Oh well. Oh man, Shulian, hello, welcome to the stream, says, hope I didn't miss too much. We had a power outage about 10 minutes before this started. Oh no, you're not in like the hurricane part of the world, are you? Hopefully you're okay. Okay, but yes, Julian, you missed it. This is a very unorganized stream. Right now what I'm doing is I'm kind of getting all my ducks in a row, making a plan for what videos I'm going to do. Right now I'm making a slide deck so I can do the prerequisites video, and then we'll get into that. But in terms of making my slide decks look real cool, there's this site called Flixel that has all these really cool like cinemagraphs. And these are videos. So I went through and I found some of my favorites. And we can just put those in the background. Let's do this one. This one has mountains and water. So there is a specific thing you can add here to add a full screen background video. If we look at my slide decks, one of my older slide decks, we can see that syntax. So if we look at the README, we look at the RAW, this wonderful thing. So this is a part of Reveal MD, which ultimately gets turned into a Reveal.js directive. Basically, we say data background video, and then we can specify the URL to a video file. So we'll put that there. It's muted. It's going to loop. Watch how beautiful this is. Are you ready? But now my text kind of like blends in. Let's see if I go full screen. Yeah, this width is a little hard to see. Okay, Julian says no hurricanes in southern England. That's good to hear. Okay. Oh, Brandon, hello, Brandon, says, I coded for 16 hours yesterday, and I've been going for 3 hours today, still going strong. You should probably get some rest, but if you're going strong, that's great. Are you doing like a hackathon or something? Well, that's cool. Okay, let's find a different video to use, because that one you can't really see the text on. This one has two. This one's interesting. I'll show you this one. It's like two little birds. Well, one little bird is moving. The other one's like still. Hopefully it's light, dark enough to see the text on top of. What do we think of this? Do we like this background image? Also, I probably shouldn't waste time setting up background images. Okay, so prerequisites for working with Feathers.js. Okay, next slide. So in Reveal MD, if you want to go to the next slide, you do 3 dashes, and that creates a new slide. No. Node and npm installed. Let's bring in a node.js logo. Okay, that should work on a black background. SAP consultant, I'm not skipping your comment. I'm just focusing on other things. But your comment was, please do a video on Gatsby.js on building a simple blog. One day, if you check out the Coding Garden GitHub, there is a repo called landscaping. And in this repo, you can submit an issue with video ideas. So eventually I'll get to it. You can see that it has been somewhat neglected, but eventually once I start doing this more often, this is definitely going to be the place to go for video ideas and stuff like that. So definitely submit it there. Zuhaib says, CJ, you are my ideal. Thank you. Okay. Where were we? Okay, yes, we have the Node.js logo. We're making so much progress. So this next slide says you're going to need Node.js and npm installed, and I'll link to their website. But let's just add that. Okay, so that's the Node logo. Let's see how it looks. It's probably going to have that weird background on it. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can just override all images. We can say any image has border none, background none. Can I do that? And we'll make these important. But then this one is even more important. Cool. And that still works. Looks like there's still like a border on it. Weird. Is box shadow a thing? None. What's happening to this image? Yeah, it's the box shadow. We gotta make that important too. Cool. Okay. Slide number 2, down. We can link to the Node.js website. Or I prefer to use a tool called MVM for managing your node installs. Works wonderfully. Wonderfully? Wonderfully. Okay, that's decent. All right, what are some other prerequisites? Familiarity with JavaScript / ES6 and modules. All right, next slide. We need the JavaScript logo. Images. That one, but okay, I think that's the one. And it's on Wikipedia too. Where'd it go? Cool. Well, I should just be able to use the URL. It's a PNG. JavaScript. That's huge. Let's say max height is 100% and width is auto. That did nothing. I'm just gonna style this one custom. So JS logo, width 400 pixels, height auto, and then we'll give that thing a JS logo ID. Yeah, very good. Abunga is asking, how do I contribute to the Coding Garden app? First, take a look at the Coding Garden community GitHub. On here, there is a wiki. Yeah, if you go to app wiki and then go to the wiki, you can read all about what is the app, the contribution guidelines, code of conduct, how to get started. There's a link to the Discord. So I would start there. And then once you're in the Discord, there are plenty of people that will help you out with getting you access to things and stuff like that. Cool. Amon is saying, can you make a JavaScript game? One day, eventually. If you look at my channel, I've built Snake in the past, so you can look at that video. I built it with React. Anish is saying, when possible, would you be able to make a video on your Mac setup with all the cool tools you use? So I do have a setup video. If you go to cg-videos.now.sh, this has all the videos from my YouTube channel, but I added some links up here for stuff that people commonly want to see. I do have this video setting up a Mac for web development, and that goes through most of the tools that I use. And if you look in the video description of that video, there's links to all the stuff I use as well, so you can check that out. Cornerstone is saying the JavaScript logo is so boring. It's like it's fairly unoriginal. Yeah, you are. Yeah, I agree. Okay, Meritron is saying 100 view height instead. I'm okay with like an explicit height. Yeah, you all are probably correct. But I'm okay. Like that's if I go full screen on this, that's a decent size. Like JavaScript. Okay. So JavaScript, I think there is an ES6 logo. I don't know if it makes sense to put on here. It looks exactly the same. I think it's just like blue or yellow. Cool. However, does anyone have any good resources for ES6? I don't have any that come to mind, but I definitely have come across some before. So like there's this site, es6features.org, which is great, but at the same time, it seems fairly dense. I have seen some ES6, maybe this is it, ES6 for everyone? Oh no, that's Wes Boss's course. Does he have any documentation? Is it a free course? Oh, it costs money. Okay. There's a free codecamp link. Exploring JS. There was one that I contributed to a while back. git.io/es6features. I think this is a good one. This feels a little bit more approachable than the that other ES6 features site. The last commit was 2016 though. Okay, we'll hold on to that one. This is kind of like the go-to resource for ES6. This is nice. I'm looking for things that are like fairly beginner friendly that can like get you up and going with ES6 so that I can link to that when I'm talking about prerequisites. Easy ES6. ES6 for beginners. I'm gonna look at my GitHub too. Because I fixed one explanation on something a while back. ES6 all the things. Here we go. A collection of ES6 goodies for the next level dev. This is like a really nice to use website. Talks about all the different features, like arrow functions. Yeah, I think I'm gonna link to this. Let's see if I can short URL it. Nice. Cool. So we have this nice shareable link, which redirects there. Cool. So that's what I'll put in the slide deck. We'll link to that one too, es6features.org. Okay. Let's see what it looks like. Not bad. Yeah, I think that's fine. So prerequisites are familiarity with JavaScript and also familiarity with some of the latest ES6 features. What else? Yeah, ES6 modules. Okay, one thing you can do is you can create a slide that goes down instead of to the right, and that's with 4 dashes instead of 3. And I think I'm just going to do like a simple little code sample with using node modules. App equals feathers. I think that's how that works. But now we can show something like that. You can also do the import version of it. So I need to double check my import, but I think it's right. Import feathers from that. Or, so I think this is called common.js modules. Yeah, this is common.js. So used typically in node.js, and then this one is it the AMD format? Writing modular JavaScript with ES-Harmony. This is like an old, we don't call it ES-Harmony anymore. JavaScript import export modules. What is that called? I think it's just like ES6 modules. Can we call it that? ES6 import and export? Cool. Let's double check that I spelled the package name right. Quick start at feathers.js/feathers. Cool. All right, let's catch up on the chat. Nasir is asking, what are we going to build today? You were just watching me in my process. So I'm going to make several different videos. The first one is all the prerequisites you need before getting started with Feathers.js. And then I'm going to jump into what is Feathers.js. And then I'm going to jump into actually building a simple app by following the getting started guide. This is probably going to be a really long stream. May not have any rewatch value, but ultimately the things I do here, I'm going to edit down, and those will be shorter videos. And you're mainly seeing my process because I'm busy and somewhat lazy, and I didn't do this beforehand. So we're here. Here we are. A question here. How do you understand when you're working or learning new frameworks? How much time do you spend on learning? May I know the approach that you follow while learning or working on new things? Typically what I do is I just go straight to the documentation. I know as a beginner that can be somewhat daunting, and especially depending on what thing you're trying to learn, because not everything has good docs. But for me, that's the best way for me to learn. And that's really because I've been doing this for so long that I can recognize patterns in things, and I have certain intuitions about how I think things should work. And so I kind of like follow those intuitions. If you're completely and totally new to all of this stuff, it can be hard to go just straight to the docs. I will say, though, that the guide here on the Feathers site is really good. And this is probably one of the places where you can just go straight to the docs to learn it. You don't really even have to watch my videos about it. Just go to the docs. For beginners, a lot of times it can help to watch a course on something because someone has done the hard work ahead of time of putting this into a nice scaffolded way of learning the thing rather than just going directly to the docs. But yeah, that's my advice. Like the longer you do this, the docs are better. Not better. They're easier for you to get up and going. You have certain intuitions about things. And you're also not dependent on like paying for a course or watching a video or something like that. Hope that helps. But And then the other thing is like source code diving. So we live in JavaScript land where the majority of things are open source. You can find a GitHub repo, or you can go into the node modules and look at the source code. And I find myself doing that a lot. Like if I go to the documentation, I can't figure out how something works, I'll actually jump into their source code and just see like what is the signature for a particular method. Like what is it expecting me to call it with, that kind of thing. And so the more you do that, the more you get used to looking at other people's code as well. So hope that helps. But Zuhaib is asking why you used DuckDuckGo. It's my preferred search engine. One of the things is they don't track you. Like all of these links you click go directly to the website instead of typically on Google. It actually tracks when you click on things. Yeah. Mohammed is saying ES6 modules. Did I say that? Yeah, let's call it ES6. And then common.js, I think, is stylized like that. Let me get rid of node.js right there. Yeah, common.js. Cool. Oh, and that's a good clarification. When you say you go straight to the docs, do you mean you read them in their entirety outright, or refer to them as necessary? Absolutely refer to them as necessary. For a lot of things, it doesn't make sense to read all of the docs because you may not be using everything. So typically, I'll try to do something. If I can't figure it out, I'll go to the documentation to see if I can find where they've documented that particular function, or maybe they have like an examples repo or something like that. And I will just kind of like pick and choose. So it's definitely a process. I don't just go like read the docs and now I know the thing. You got to actually start building with it. And as you build, you have questions, which you refer to the docs to. If the docs can't answer it, maybe you go source code diving. If that can't answer it, maybe you post on Stack Overflow, or you post on whatever forum is used for help with that particular library. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I am just I feel like I'm wasting time or buying time or whatever. I don't know. This is going to be a really good video on prerequisites. I tell you what. Okay. What else? Familiarity with promises and async await. Okay. Next slide. Is there a logo for ES6 promises? Somebody might have made one. JavaScript. Yeah, I've seen this before, like the .then. Let's go to Google. We can show this one. Why not? It's a nice visual. Oh, can we go to it? Inspect. Does it have a background image? Oh, it's a before. Huh. Logo small.png. File not found. File not found. I mean, I guess I could just copy this image address. There we go. Okay. Give ourselves another image. The source is going to be that thing. Let's see what we get. Not bad. Not bad at all. Question from Alessio. Is design patterns that important when developing in JavaScript? I'm referring to dependency injections and other programs engineerings, which are usually used in Java. Thanks and much love. It really depends on the, maybe potentially like the library or the framework that you're dealing with. AngularJS in particular uses a lot of these design patterns like dependency injection. And knowing that pattern can definitely help you to be more effective in that framework instead of just never learning about it and just letting the framework do the work. But that said, it's not required to use the thing. And really, unless you're writing your own libraries or you're writing like very custom code, typically you don't really implement design patterns. I'm talking about just like most like basic website building, but like when you get into like building custom libraries and you have larger code bases, then it can make a lot of sense to use particular patterns. So my answer to that is use them when you need them. And again, like documentation, you can potentially learn about them when you need them. That said, it is good to know them. It can help when reading other people's code. I don't know. I already mentioned it earlier, but I'm a little bit out of it today. Yeah, you know it'll be a great prerequisites video when it takes an hour to set up. You are absolutely right. Danielle is saying hot linking. This slide deck I'm going to use like once and then forget it. I guess I could download these images locally. Maybe I can push it to GitHub and somebody can make a pull request where they download the images. I don't know. Meldon about getting some help with the guest map. If you post an issue on that GitHub repo, I can try to help you out there. Okay. Does async await have a logo? No, I think we'll just put the words here. That's huge. Let's go down to there. All right. Do they have a resource for async await? They link to MDN. I think that's great. Does anyone have a good resource for async await? javascript.info, hackernoon, alligator.io. Because I've never really looked at javascript.info. They have a lot of info on javascript.info. We'll just link to MDN. Does MDN have like a short link? Nice. Okay. Let's put that right here. mdn.io/async function. Does this talk about await? Cool. I think that's good enough. How does it look? It's a little tight. Like bottom of the screen. Andreas is saying I should do a shameless plug and link your videos. I don't know if I have any specific videos on promises and async await. I have just like, there have been Q&As where I talked about it in those videos. It's not exactly like a quick and easy resource. I'm gonna shy away from shameless plugging in this video. Okay, I think we're almost there, everyone. We're almost ready to record our first video, and we're only an hour in. Only. Okay, and then nice to have. Let's do like a small code example with like promises and async await. If we look in their docs, quick start, getting ready. Installing feathers, creating our app. Like, how do we get access to a service? It's like app.service, messages.create. We could do like messages.find. I just want to do like a simple little example. Then It should actually give us reference to the thing that got created, I think. Or we have like an async function. So in this case, we can say async function create message. That's going to go in there, and we're going to say created equals await that thing. And then we can log it afterwards. Okay, cool. And then we can get into the nice to have. Let's make sure that looks okay. We might have to put it on a separate slide. Hey, it's not bad. Not bad. All right, next slide. Nice to have. And let's find a nice little background logo. Nice little birdie on a branch. How about that one? That looks visible, doesn't it? I think it looks visible. Not required, but nice to have. Let's put it on a new line. Okay. The first thing is REST APIs. Does REST have a logo? I don't think it does. People just made these up. That's not real. I could write that myself. Yeah, we'll just type it out. So, familiarity with REST APIs. WebSockets. Does WebSockets have a logo? Is that really the logo? This is the logo, not this. Action cable? What the heck is action cable? We're just going to use the word WebSockets. Okay. I think that's it. Are we ready to record our first video? We can throw an Express in there. Let's find an Express.js logo. Is that the one? Let's go to Google. Express. Express.js. That's literally their logo. It's just the word Express. Okay. Okay, Julian saying action cable is Ruby on Rails. Okay. Not required, but nice to have. Familiarity with REST APIs and, for the using the REST protocol, and WebSockets for using real-time. Also, you might it'd be good to have familiarity with Express, but again, it's not required. That's what I'm gonna say in a second when I do this video. All right, I think that's it. Like I said, I'm just stalling. All right, let's do one last slide with just a nice background video. This one's cool. It's chickens pecking at the ground. Pecking away. Cool. All right. Avi says, I like you have a list of ready-to-use background images instead of searching on the internet. I've searched this morning. That was like the one bit of preparation that I did. Avi is saying, can you type WebSockets in a Pascal case? Yes, and thank you for that, because that makes sense. And I guess on this slide, I should also link to some resources for REST APIs. So this one just links to Wikipedia. Is there a Wikipedia short URL? w.wiki/, okay, let's try it. Didn't work. Followed by a string of letters and numbers. Where does this go to? Oh, where do I find the that looks sketchy. I want like the official Wikipedia short URL generator. w.wiki. Oh, here we go. Not that. Where are you? Representational state transfer. Oh, here it is. Shorten. Oh, wow. That's tiny. Does it work? It works. Cool. And then we can talk about WebSockets. Is there something on MDN for WebSockets? Technical reference. Guess we could also link to it on Wikipedia. Does this provide better info? Overview, history, browser implementation. It's getting in the weeds. I just want it to be learn about it. Writing WebSocket client applications. That works. There is a writing WebSocket server application, writing WebSocket servers. Okay, I think I'm ready. I'm gonna record a video now. I mean, it's not gonna stop, but we're basically, wait, what just happened? Oh, that's an image. There's some chickens. Well, that text is too big. What if we don't tab it? It's just too big. If I search MDN for WebSockets, I think that's good enough. We're just going to do that. mdn.o/WebSockets. Okay. Alas, you can't do that, says, are the chickens there because of feathers? Yes. So I just found some cinemagraphs that have like birds in them because it makes sense. It's feathers. Hello, Marionaise. Welcome to the stream. All right. Are we ready to do this? You know what I think I'm going to do? I haven't shaved in a while and I feel like the people learning feathers don't want to see my face. So I'm going to hide me. Boop. And I'm going to record this part. Let's see, where's my mouse? Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Are we ready? Hello, in this video, we're going to go over the prerequisites for working with Feathers.js. First up, you should have node.js installed. You can visit nodejs.org and get the installer there. Or if you search for a tool called NVM, it's a really cool version manager where you can use to install different versions of Node as well. You'll also need to be familiar with the features of JavaScript and programming with JavaScript, and specifically newer features in ES6 or ES 2015. Here are a couple of links that can get you up to speed if you're not familiar with ES6. And particularly with ES6 and JavaScript in general, you should be familiar with modules. So if you've ever used Node.js, you've probably used the require syntax. Those are known as common JS modules. You're going to see that a lot in these tutorials. And if you're working with client-side JavaScript, typically that's transpiled. You might have seen ES6 modules, which uses the import syntax. So you should be familiar with bringing in packages like that. Next up, you should be familiar with promises and async await. You can check out the link there to learn more about it. But essentially, a lot of the things we do with Feathers.js deal with asynchronous tasks. Particularly promises, we might access a service, create something, and when that is completed, want to do something with that created thing. So with promises, you typically have .thens, which take a callback function. Async await cleans that up a little bit, but essentially if you're using async await, you should also be fairly familiar with promises. This guide will use async await, so be sure to be familiar with both of those. These next few things are not required, but they will make your life a little bit easier when you're going through these tutorials. First up is familiarity with REST APIs. You can visit that link there to view the Wikipedia documentation on representational state transfer, and also familiarity with WebSockets. Now, again, you don't have to know anything about these things. You can still get started with Feathers without knowing anything, but it can't hurt. And the other thing is familiarity with Express.js. Again, you don't really have to know much. We're going to show you everything you need to learn, but if you have used Express before, that will not hurt. All right, I'll see you in the next videos for getting started with Feathers.js. How did I do? Give me a thumbs up if that was okay. Give me a thumbs down if that was horrible and I should do it over again. Alana says you talk so fast. I do. Yeah. Did I talk too fast? I think that's why some people like watching my videos is because they don't have to speed it up. They can just, what do you call it? Just, yeah, just watch it because I talk really fast and get stuff done. Hello, Katoli. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Mohammed from the Maldives. That's great. I don't think we've had anyone on the stream from the Maldives before. Alana says, is there a timer? No timer. No, I just talk really fast. Yeah, and I mean the other idea with this is like the videos need to be fairly consumable. Like you don't want to lose people's interests, so like they can just like watch a minute or two video and then move on to the next thing. That's what I'm trying to do with these videos. 100% professional video maker. Okay, I'm gonna leave it. Again, we can always go back and do it again later. I've had a lot of caffeine today, which is probably why I'm talking so fast. Okay, prerequisite video done. Next up is what is feathers. Let's make a slide deck for that. This is probably going to take us another hour just to create. What is feathers.md. Alas says, I name you honorary Chilean. We also talk really fast. I guess that's the thing. Was it intelligible? Because if not, then I probably need to talk a little bit slower, because this is going to be for beginners. This shouldn't be a folder. This should be a file. There we go. An hour to create a 2-minute video. Exactly. So when you watch all those, so like, I don't do this in particular, like most YouTube videos that you've seen me do, it's just me doing the thing fairly informally. But look at any other YouTuber, and with highly edited content and animations, like, you best believe that it takes hours to produce like a 2-3 minute video. Yeah. Particularly, I'll give a shout out to, let's look at my subscriptions. One that I subscribed to recently, Fireship, I think they're called. Yeah, Fireship. This guy has really cool, really entertaining, really well edited videos on all sorts of topics, so check him out. Robin Zahn is at a wedding watching Coding Garden. Cool. All right, Mohammed says, I think it was well placed. Okay, I'm probably overthinking it. And again, it was a short video. I have the slide deck. I could redo it later if I need to. All right, let's talk about what is feathers.js. Well, we'll use the very similar slide to the first one here. Okay, which background video should we use for this one? This one has, this little owl is super cute. I'll have to show you this really quick. We need to update our start script. Actually, I think does it, yeah, it has it in here. So if I do what is feathers.md, there we go. The owl isn't moving. There he is. Oh, I'm covering him up. Yeah, but with that, it makes it really hard to see the what is. Katoli is asking, what am I using to create the slides? I'm using Reveal MD. It's a wrapper on top of Reveal.js, but it lets you create your slides using Markdown syntax or HTML. Typically, I end up writing some custom HTML. Okay, let's not use that background because it's hard to see the text. It's a bird on a branch. Wait for it. There he is. I think that works. Cool. What is feathers.js? Okay, we'll start with like their tagline on their website, which is a framework for real-time applications and REST APIs. Too big. Nice. Can use this image. Cool. Let's give this an ID of, what is this thing? Feathers diagram. Let's try what people mentioned earlier. We'll do a max height of 100 view height. Width is auto. There it is. However, it's still way too big. What if we give it a height of 100 view height? Too big. Okay. We'll just use pixel values. 800 pixels. 400 pixels. Too little. 600 pixels. Just right. Nice. Cool. Feathers is a web framework for creating real-time applications and REST APIs using JavaScript or TypeScript with node.js, React Native, and the browser. Okay, what I think I want to do is I want to have a slide that shows all of those things. So it shows like backend, it shows front end, it shows mobile apps. Pretty much anywhere that runs JavaScript can run Feathers. Yeah. So it works with any backend supporting many databases out of the box, and with any front end technology like React, Vue, Angular, Android, or iOS. I'm just going to take it straight from the docs or from their site. Too big. Yeah, I mean, I might actually... What if I put a bunch of database logos on there to show that it supports them? I think I'll do that. If we look at awesome feathers, we can see under databases, all of the databases that it supports. Elasticsearch connects local storage, memory, MongoDB, Mongoose, NeDB, and SQLize are all the officially supported ones. Do I want to have a bunch of logos on here? Yeah, let's just do it. It's good to have those visuals because you can say a lot of databases, but if you show the logos, people will believe you. Elasticsearch logo. Ooh. That's nice. Is this the latest Elasticsearch logo? I don't want to choose something that's like old and outdated. Yeah, we'll use this one. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a div. We're probably going to like flexbox this so we can get a bunch of images in it. So there's Elasticsearch. What else? Connects. That's not it. This is the Connects logo, I believe. Connectsjs.org. Yeah, let's use this. Cool. Well, actually, I mean, well, so the thing is, like, because it supports Connects, any database that Connects supports, it also supports. And if you look at Connects, it has a ton of database support. Let's see. Connects supports, like, most popular SQL databases. Yeah, so Postgres, Microsoft SQL, MySQL, MariaDB, SQLite, Oracle, Amazon Redshift, all of these things are supported by Connects, and then Feathers plugs into Connects. So you can literally use any one of these databases with Feathers, which is awesome. There's directly the MongoDB one. Yeah, show the logo so people will believe you. CJ philosophy. Muhammad is asking, where did you get these background videos from? I got them from flixel.net. If you click on gallery, they have a bunch of really cool cinemagraphs. Yeah. What does this one even do? Oh, something. There's a shadow there. Let's go with this logo. Mongoose. Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah. Is that an image? Or is that text? It's text. I think if we just show MongoDB, that should be enough. And we can show the SQLize logo. SQLize logo. Yeah, Crypto is saying connects plus Objection.js. Thumbs up. Yeah, I really like Objection.js. That's probably one of my favorite ORMs for JavaScript. It's built. Ooh, they have a new documentation. That's great. Wow. Yeah, this is all new. But they have it's a wrapper on top of Connects, so you can still do all of your database migrations and like schema building with Connects. But then once you have that, you can create these model classes, which make it really, really easy to query your database and do like joins and stuff like that without having to work too hard. That's definitely a SQLize logo. It's a little big. Can we get something smaller? That one. Oh, it's cut off. That's the same one. It's oh wait. Here we go. That one. There we go. There we go. Okay. Robinson says, I just love to see CJ work. CJ, most of us really enjoy watching you because you show us that development is not this huge, scary monster, and everyone, even inexperienced developers, make mistakes. Yes, I make all kinds of mistakes. It's like, I don't know, the human condition, like, or it's just like modern media is so, let's just, I mean, I don't want to call out any of the things that I'm subscribed to, but the way we consume media currently is like, we want stuff to be quick, we want stuff to be easy, we want to just like watch it, consume. We don't want to see the nitty-gritty parts. We just want it nice and easy and presented to us. And that's not what the real world is like. I mean, it might be entertaining and it might be cool to like think about the world in that way, but the real world is long and tedious, and sometimes, like most often, like everyone makes mistakes. So that's, I don't know. Eddie is saying, did you ever consider just putting the Feathers logo in the background and talk and explain until the code part? I did, but again, I mean, that talk about that I just did about things being like entertaining and in your face, like if you give people visuals, it really it makes them slightly more interested and also helps them connect the dots in their own brain instead of just hearing me talk. At least that's what I think. So I do want this piece of it to be a little bit more prepared. But once we get into the coding, that will be literally just me coding. I'm not going to create slide decks or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that. But we'll get there. If you want to tune back in like 30 minutes, we'll probably get to the coding part. Okay, where were we? Did I put the Sequelize logo? I think I did. That's the Sequelize logo. That's the ones out of the box. Let me just make sure I have all of them. If we look at API, if we look at databases, Sequelize connects. You know what? Maybe I should put these database logos instead of the underlying library. That's what I'm going to do. So I did put the MongoDB one. Let's find the MySQL logo. I know some of you watching are just like, what is he doing? Why doesn't he just write some code? Well, we'll get there. We will get there. I feel like they used the wrong font for my. That one doesn't have any white space around it. That's like an off-color blue. How about that one? I like that one. Wonder how that'll look on a black background though. Okay, so we have Elasticsearch. We're gonna get rid of connects and Sequelize because we're just gonna do the actual database logos. That does not look too bad. Okay. I guess, I mean, it would be nice if these didn't have backgrounds in them. Should I remove the backgrounds? I think I'm gonna. Yeah, remove.bg is a super cool website. They use artificial intelligence to remove backgrounds. So here's, I'm gonna do it. They do a really good. Oh, you know what? If I remove the background though, then you won't be able to see the text. Never mind. I'm not gonna remove backgrounds. Okay, so we have MySQL, MongoDB, Elasticsearch. We need the Postgres logo. Very nice. I like that one. Where did it go? Oh, it's like it's way down there. Okay. We'll fix that in a second. MariaDB. Robinson says, just Google database logos and something will show up. Well, I want to be specific about it because it does support these specific databases. We're almost there. I realize I'm losing viewers. Doesn't matter. If you come back tomorrow, come back in a few hours, all of this will be done, beautifully edited. Yeah. SQLite. Does SQLite have a logo? Oh, they do. This one's on Wikipedia. Great. We're almost there. Microsoft SQL. Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so let's give this an ID of DB logos. And how are we going to style this? DB-logos. So we'll say this is going to have a display of flex. We'll have a flex wrap of wrap. And then all of the images inside of there. Let's say they have a common height or width. Say they have a common height. So then we have common rows. So let's say like height, 100 pixels, width, auto. And we can do justify content space evenly. Let's see what we get. Ta-da! That should be the next slide. Or we may not have a slide for it at all. Cool. Let's make them a little bit bigger. That literally... Wait. I thought this was a PNG with a transparent background, but apparently they literally rendered it with like that fake transparent background. Okay. No, I want one with this. Hello, Topher. Let's see. Topher says, could you at least trim the white space so they all appear to be the same height? My OCD makes me twitch when I see logos that have obvious backgrounds but are not the same size. Yeah, we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Okay, where's the Postgres one? That one. And let's increase their height just a little bit. Let's go like 150. That's not bad. Okay. It's really hard to see. Maybe I should find ones that they all have white backgrounds. And I can make this whole slide a white background. Because this is definitely getting my OCD. Okay. We need another MariaDB one, though. That one? I guess I'm not a user of MariaDB. Let's go to like their website, because there's like this brownish one and then there's the bluish one. Let's see what they use on their website. They use that one on their website. I'm gonna go with that. This one. Cool. And I think I can make this whole slide background white, I think. I don't know. Let's look at the CSS and see if we can overwrite it. So slide background content. Where's the actual slide content? Oh, it's a totally another section that's like off the page, which gets relatively positioned or like absolutely positioned onto the slide. Let's see real quick. Reveal JS, change slide background color. How to change it for the full? Okay, the only workaround I found is to add data background. Okay, check it. So just like up here we had these comments, I think we can do this. I think we can say dot slide data background, and then we give it a color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Okay. Clayus is asking which keyboard do I have. It's nothing special. It is a mechanical keyboard that I found on Amazon. Let's see, does it have a brand? I paid like $35 for it. I don't even know the brand. I recently got another one on Amazon. Let me find that one for you real quick. I use that at my work desk because currently I'm in the basement. This is the streaming area, so I have two mechanical keyboards. Let's see. Do. Yeah, that's the one I just got, and that's the one I've had for a very long time. Cool. Yeah. So I just sent the links in the chat, but they're nothing special. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. And it has like a nice transition too. So what is Feathers.js? A framework for real-time applications and REST APIs. Well, what does that mean? We can build in a matter of seconds, an application with any kind of front end, mobile apps, desktop apps, web apps, with a common back end, and you get real-time for free. All these databases are supported. I'm just giving you a preview. That's what, that's what the lesson's going to be like. Okay, cool. If you look back at the website, it works with any backend, supporting many databases out of the box, and with any front-end technology. All right, now we need a front-end technology slide. Yeah, Clayus is saying, do you use a silent one at work? I do. On days when I know like I'm going to be one of the only people's in, I will actually bring my mechanical keyboard, but yes, if you're working in an office environment, you definitely need to be aware of the people around you and the fact that they may not want to hear all of your clickety-clackety. So yeah. Yeah, Topher says I've gotten used to chiclet keyboards. And yeah, I mean, pretty much the MacBook keyboard is what I code on most often. And actually have a Bluetooth Mac wireless keyboard that I use at work. Okay, so we've got the DB logos. Let's create another slide for all of the front-end logos. This is going to go a lot smoother because we already have all of the styles. And actually, we can reuse this, so let's call this just like logos section. Will it work even though they both have the same ID? I don't know. Let's see. I don't think so. Oh, I need to update my styles. What did I call it? Logos section? Yeah. Cool. Now we just need the front end logos. React.js logo. Probably that one. Wait, is that the right? I feel like that text is too skinny. Here we go. Oh, we need to put that text on the next slide. React. Jonas is asking, how can I grow my beard like you? With time. Yeah, I literally just like, and I have like weird facial hair. Like it grows a lot here, not so much here, so I keep this shaved. I don't know. With time. React. We need the view logo. Yeah, that should work. We're using like a fixed size and space evenly, so even though there's no white space around it, we should be able to. Oh, it's using the DuckDuckGo proxy. That should be fine. View, cool. Angular, and we definitely want. Yeah, this is the new like Angular IO logo or whatever. Android. Should I get the one with the word Android? I think most people know the Android logo. Oh, that one's nice. We'll use this one. Is it bad that I'm using the DuckDuckGo image proxy for this? Probably, but I'm only going to use this slide deck like once. Okay, and now we need the iOS logo. Is that the iOS logo? This thingy? Let's search Google. Maybe we just show an apple. We could. Oh, Android has a new logo? Let's check it out. Oh, is it this one? Google announces Android rebrand. Oh, I didn't know that. August 22nd. That's just a few days ago. Cool. Yeah, let's use this image. Look at this. Like, our video is going to be so up to date. We've got the latest Android logo. That's not that one. That's this one. Wow. That's a nice slide. I like that. And view is a little bit bigger than the others, which is also very good. Then we need the iOS one. Oh, yeah, thanks, Topher. Official iOS logo. Yeah, I think it's like this off-gray one seems most official. This is like back in the day. This is more recent. We're gonna go with that. I don't like that it's on the next line. What if we like I have 3 and then I want to show Android on the next line. What if I put like a little break right there? No. If I create 2 divs. Now the view is a little off center. Ugh. Actually, that's probably not that bad. That's bad. I don't like it. It's bad. Why is that though? Like, I guess there's a lot of white space on the React logo. Let's find a React logo that doesn't have as much white space on it. That might fix it. Official logo stream. Are you going to try React 360? I'm using it for a code jam and it's pretty good. I have not heard of React 360. Let's look it up. Well, I've clicked it before. Create amazing 360 experiences. Oh, I guess it's like a VR thing. Cool. I'll try it one day, yeah. ResMed says view at first. I like the fact that view's in the center and it's a little bit bigger. It's like it's a subliminal message. We're not gonna be biased in our instruction, but it's like a subliminal message that React is a little bit better than the rest of these. Search for React.js logo. I want the word React underneath it, like that, but that text is messed up. And that looks like the wrong font. Let's just see what image I'm using. Oh. Well, I don't know. Maybe use the view logo with white space because most other logos have white space, potentially. Pranjal is asking, is there any way to open a folder of an AWS EC2 instance inside of VS Code? There is. And actually, it's really freaking cool. So VS Code has an SSH feature. So like inside of VS Code, you might not have, maybe you have to install it. But yeah, let's go to install extensions. If you search for SSH, yeah, this one's from Microsoft. So it's called Remote SSH. You can install this. Let's just do it real quick. And then once it's installed, you can open up the command palette and search for SSH and say connect to host. And then if you're using like Linux to connect or a Mac, you typically can configure your SSH hosts like in your SSH config file. This will pick those up automatically. You click connect, VS Code will literally do an SSH connection to that server, and then you can actually browse the files on that server. It's pretty freaking sweet. Check it out. Zubair is asking Flutter, does Flutter.js support it? I mean, so the thing that that ultimately what Feathers is getting at with this particular section is that it really is just a REST API or a sockets API. So for all of these front-end frameworks, you can just use the Feathers.js JavaScript library. There are also specific implementations. And then for like Android and iOS, they might have a specific Feathers package. Otherwise, you can just use plain old sockets or plain old REST. Yeah, and then GraphQL would typically sit on top of your... If you wanted to use GraphQL, it would be like a wrapper around Feathers itself. If you look at Feathers Plus, they do have a plugin which allows you to automatically add Feathers, or add GraphQL on top of Feathers, which is pretty cool. But this isn't part of the official Feathers.js package. Okay, where were we? Let's look at the inspector. Why is this happening? Oh. You know what? If I just get the React logo without the word React on it, or one where React is on the bottom, let's search DuckDuckGo. Like that one, but not messed up. Why is it so messed up? Okay. We'll just use this one. No, but now that has a lot of space on the edge. Okay, we'll use this one. Yeah, this is one of those things where it looks like it's transparent, but it actually has like the fake transparent background, which is messed up. Is that the one I just looked at? Why is it so hard to find a React logo? Like, I would choose this one, but it's like not quite the right blue color. Okay. Official. Why is this so hard? I mean, I guess we can use this one. Is anyone going to complain that it is the it's the wrong color? Let's see what we get. Much better. Yeah. I like that. Look at that. Look at that. Cool. Build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days. Seriously. That's too big. Seriously. I like that. Okay. Oh, that's true. Create Your React app does give you an SVG. Ooh, let's catch up, but I think Hygor has an interesting suggestion. Try to use the content flex basis with 1/3 fraction and make it wrap. So that would basically make sure that each one takes up a third. Yeah. I think this got it though. Like here, let me hide me. Does this screen trigger anyone's OCD? Like, is anything like weirdly not centered? React app has the wrong color. It does. It's like the wrong blue. I'm gonna leave it though. Okay. There's that. Yeah, I think I'll include this this little image. Oh, this is not an image. This is an animation. Let's turn it into a GIF. So Cap is a really cool program for creating custom animations. Stop it. There we go. We're going to capture that. Press record. Refresh the page. Cool. Done capturing. And then, yeah, we can set the start time. Wait, where does it? Like right there. Is that it? Yeah, that's a nice GIF. Okay, we actually will save it 60 frames per second, MP4. Let's save it to that particular directory. Cap just froze. Okay, let's... Jeez. Cool. I will show my screen in a second. Cool. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Striker Johnny, yeah, it's at least this logo that you're seeing is at least the Feathers JS Coding Garden collaboration for sure. Cool. So that tool cap, I just created an MP4. Check it out. Nice. And I can embed that in the slide. So that's what I'm going to do. Here. Build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days. Seriously. Okay, and then I'm going to do a video tag here. Source is going to be this file. Let's copy the full path, because I don't know how that's going to work. Yeah, let's see if that works. This probably won't work. Let's just do that right there. See what happens. Cool, yeah. And then I think I can do auto play on there. It's too easy. Cool. It supports all of these things. Build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days. Seriously. Simply just install Feather... Oh. Okay. The thing is, maybe I don't want it to autoplay. Maybe I want to click it like when I get to that slide. So if I do... am I going to have to add controls? Yeah, I might have to do that. Seriously. Simply install Feathers from npm, make a directory, generate an app, and get started. Cool. I think I do want to have a slide that talks about, or at least shows that it supports JavaScript and TypeScript. And let's just move that getting started animation before we talk about like what's supported. So, a framework for real-time apps and REST APIs. We'll show that image to talk about a little bit about what it does. Actually, we'll show how to install it first. And we'll show this image, which leads into talking about data store agnostic and front-end agnostic. Cool. Resmed is saying autoplay and loop. Yeah, the only thing is I don't want to get to that slide and then the animation be behind, because I don't know if the animation will start when I get to the slide, or if it starts when the entire slide deck loads. Let's see. Like if I go to the root of the presentation. Oh, I think the issue is, yeah, once you refresh, you need to make sure that you interact with the document so that it will play automatically. Yeah, see, it starts playing when the whole slideshow loads. And I don't want it to be like halfway through the animation when I get to that slide, right? So if I go here, it's like, yeah, see, it was halfway through and it has to restart. So I think I'm okay with just clicking play, because the controls disappear pretty fast when I get to it. So that. It's not bad. Cool. What do I want to say when I show this image? Yeah, I might have some notes beside me whenever I start talking about it. Cool. Yeah, I do want to have a slide on universal. Okay, build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days. Seriously. Then we'll have a slide that talks about JS and TypeScript. And then we'll have a slide that talks about the fact that it is universal / same library on front end and back end. And we'll do service oriented. Okay, I think that does it. At least for the intro. And we are 2 hours into this live stream. Avi says, CJ, I challenge you to make a live translation application in JavaScript. I might add, it must receive the input via the microphone. That would be really cool, because there are a lot of APIs that you can use. So you can use like the speech to text API built into the browser, and then you would communicate with some translation API to take that text and translate it to another language. But yeah, that'd be cool. Andreas is saying that's a suspiciously specific challenge. It's an interesting challenge. Okay, maybe does the app that they have you build, is there an animation for that? Building a front end. The final version can be found here. Is it deployed anywhere? Yep, Topher asked the question. Reveal MD. A lot of people are asking, and I have no problem plugging them because I use this for all my slide decks. It's called Reveal MD. It's a wrapper on top of Reveal.js, but you can write your slides with mostly Markdown. And then if you want to dive down into HTML for more custom stuff, you can do that too. Okay, we need that JavaScript logo again. Let's find it. Wait, that's the Promises logo. That's the JavaScript logo. Let's find the TypeScript logo. Wow. That's a lot. I like this one. I'm just curious if it's going to match up with the Java. That one will. I think that's a good approximation of the JS logo, so it should be about the same size. Seriously. Let's put a little heart emoji in between them. That's not red. It used like the Unicode version. About that one. Nope, not that one either. Okay, we're gonna leave it off. Cool. I think we're almost ready to make this video. Yeah, I do want to have a slide that just says this, though. Instant real-time REST APIs. And these logos are going to be written, or going to be, I think, before we talk about database technology. So it can be like, this is what Feathers is in general. You can use JavaScript or TypeScript. These are all the databases it supports. These are the front end. And then we'll do this service-oriented thing. Oh, no, not service-oriented. Instant real-time REST APIs. Feathers can be used the same way on the server with node.js and in the browser. Cool. Do I want to talk about... Actually, okay. We show the Feathers diagram, we show the logos, we show databases, which kind of covers like this. We show front ends, which kind of covers this sort of, but I think maybe I'll mention that right after I show the client. Instant CRUD functionality. And then we'll do service-oriented, large ecosystem of plugins. We'll mention all those things. Okay, 2 more slides. Okay, I think we're there. We're almost ready to record a video. Let's check out our slide deck. So, what is Feathers.js? I'm going to be hidden when I record this. Cool, we have that. And wavy general explanation. It supports JavaScript and TypeScript. All of these databases are officially supported. There are tons of community adapters. All of these front ends can be used with Feathers. And the same JavaScript library that's used on the back end can be used on the front end. The API is exactly the same, so it's really easy. Once you know the library, really easy to code on both sides. So you can literally build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days. Seriously. Oh, messed up there. So this needs to be a separate slide. Yeah, there was an extra space there. No more, no less. And then we'll get rid of that. Start using feathers today. Okay. Oh, there's that little birdie. All right. We're 2 hours in. I think I'm ready for my second video. I haven't written, I guess I am technically writing code here, but this is not feathers code. We're getting there though. Okay, I'm gonna, maybe do I need to have notes up? I need to figure out what am I gonna say on this slide. Need to figure that out. Feathers is essentially the glue between many different backends and many different front ends. And yeah, I'll come up with something to say. I'm going to wing it when I do it. JavaScript, TypeScript. Okay, front end. It's universal. Instant real-time, service-oriented. I'm just going to probably read these slides when I come across them. Let's add a link to the Feathers.js website. It's kind of hard to see. I could put it inside a div and give the div like an opaque background. I think I'll do that. And then we can have it on the first slide too. Okay, what is dark BG? It has a background of RGBA of 0, 0, 0, and 0.5. I don't like that it goes all the way across. Width auto? Is that even a thing? We're gonna hard code it just because I want to get this going. Oh, well, that doesn't help. I think that's fine. Honestly, no, I don't like it. It's too much. Let's see. You know what I could do? Let's put a div inside a div. So if I put the div here, then the parent div should take up the full width, and this one's just going to not do that. Wait, that didn't work. If I say like display flex, ooh, yeah, and then like justify content center, yeah, okay, cool. So we'll call this the dark BG parent or container. So this has a display of flex and justify content of center, and we'll give it a little bit of padding. More. Maybe this one should get the padding. Yeah, that one should get the padding because it has the background color on it. Cool. That worked out. All right, I think I'm ready to make this video. Quillhurst is asking off-topic question, why did you go with a blue screen instead of a green screen? I used to wear t-shirts that had garden stuff and flowers on them, and so that would be totally invisible with a green screen. I also used to have a bamboo plant that sat right here, and you couldn't see its leaves or the stalk because of the green screen. So I went with blue screen so that every now and then I can wear green stuff if I want to. Okay, am I ready to wing this? Should I wing this? Particularly on the feathers diagram, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I think I'm gonna say this. Feathers is a web framework for creating real-time applications and REST APIs using JavaScript, or no, I'm not gonna say that. Feathers provides a consistent API to get your backend and front end talking together. I think that's probably the only thing I'll say on that slide. Okay. Are we ready? Good luck. Thank you. I'm probably going to talk fast again this time, but oh, look at that birdie. Okay. Am I ready? I don't know. I'm gonna take a sip of my yerba mate. In this video, we're going to talk about what is feathers.js. You can check it out at feathersjs.com. Oh no, you saw my dock for a second. Don't want to do that. Okay, try again. Okay, take over. Start over. Okay. This video will be an introduction to what is Feathers. You can check out feathersjs.com to learn more. But Feathers is a framework for real-time applications and REST APIs. You can install it by grabbing it from npm, creating a directory, and then generating an application and instantly get up and going. Feathers is essentially the glue code between your front end and your back end. It provides a consistent API to allow your front end and back end to communicate with each other, in which I'll show you in a second. You can use pretty much any back end database you want or any front end technology you want. Feathers is there, right? Feathers is right there with you. I'll probably redo this. Let's keep going. It supports JavaScript, and in the latest version, you can actually code with TypeScript as well. It provides full typings for all of its API. In terms of databases that are supported, here are just a few, but there are lots of community-supported database as well. These are just the official ones that Feathers.js comes with. Also, in terms of the front end, all of these things are supported and can communicate with a Feathers backend. The Feathers library itself is universal in that the exact same API you use to code on the front end is the exact same you'll use on the back end, which makes it really great. Once you learn the API, you can pretty much use it anywhere. You can literally build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days, seriously, and you can create instant real-time REST APIs. So Feathers provides instant CRUD functionality via services. You can create these services with one command, and it exposes those services as RESTful APIs and a real-time backend through WebSockets automatically. It literally takes one line of code to enable that. It's also service-oriented, so it gives you the structure to build service-oriented apps from day one, and then when you eventually need to split your app into microservices, it's an extremely easy transition. It's also flexible, so there are many plugins available in the community. I need to redo this video. But it includes exactly what you need, no more, no less, but if you do need extra functionality, you can get those plugins. Check it out at feathersjs.com, and also come back later for more. I don't know. What are we doing with our lives? I need to think through this. I think there were some nuggets of goodness in there. I think the thing is also is like this slide deck is very visual early on, and then it immediately goes to just like blocks of text. I don't know how I feel about that. Because I could have some sort of visual aid for like this thing is universal. Yeah, I tried to wing it on this slide. I should just read this slide. Okay, let's do it again. This is gonna be the one. Look at that little birdie. Oh, I'm still in the picture. I need to... Nobody wants to see my face. Here we go. This video will be an introduction to Feathers.js, and you can check it out at feathersjs.com. So Feathers.js is a framework for real-time applications and REST APIs. It's really easy to get started. You can just install their CLI tool from npm, generate an app, and then get up and going. Feathers is essentially the glue code between your front end and your back end. It supports a multitude of databases, a multitude of front ends. It supports a multitude of protocols, and it essentially allows those things to communicate. The protocols are swappable. The databases are swappable. It's a beautiful thing. The latest version of Feathers has... All right, I think I'm just going to do like I'm going to splice it in. Here we go. The latest version of Feathers supports JavaScript and has full TypeScript definitions, so you can use TypeScript as well. In terms of database support, these are all the databases that come out of the box with adapters and support, but there are community packages that add support for other databases as well. In terms of front-end support and... I'm just gonna chop this together. In terms of your front end, all of these things are supported, as well as community packages for other things that may not be on this screen. It is universal. So Feathers has a programmatic API that is the same on the front end and the back end. So once you learn that API, you can use the exact same code on the front end, on the back end. It's a little bit different than isomorphic because the same code isn't running in the same places, but it is the same library. So once you know it, you can use it in both places. You can build prototypes in minutes, production-ready apps in days. Seriously. Feathers gives you instant real-time REST APIs. So it provides instant CRUD functionality via services. So once you generate a service, you have an instant CRUD API for that particular service. And then you can expose that API as either a RESTful API or a real-time API via WebSockets automatically. Feathers is service-oriented. Feathers gives you the structure to build service-oriented apps from day one, and when you eventually need to split your app into microservice, I mean, is this what I was meant to do with my life? Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Feathers is service-oriented. Feathers gives you the structure to build service-oriented apps from day one. When you eventually need to split your app into microservices, it's an easy transition. I lost my mouse. Okay, keep going. Flexible plugins. So Feathers is a batteries included but easily swappable framework. There's a... I'm lacking sleep. Let's see what people had to say. Topher is saying a photo of the nebula or something as the background for the universe. You know what? That is a great idea. Let's do it. Where did I say that? Right? Yeah, here for universal. Because I've used one in the past at least. Nebula Cinematograph. Yeah, and I've kind of caught that on on that slide because there isn't official libraries for it, but you technically can communicate with the Feathers backend. So it might be a little bit dishonest to have it on the slide. I'll be sure, actually, I'll redo it, but I'll be sure to word it as you can build applications that communicate with the Feathers backend with any one of these frameworks or platforms. I think that's what I'll say, to not be misleading. So yeah, that makes sense. Wow, it's got a watermark on it though. That's really cool though. Maybe we can find one without a watermark. Oh yeah, what about this one? 100% royalty free. Ooh, it says Shutterstock though. Icy Healer choke. Yes, I choked badly. Chop chop. Okay, I am gonna add a background on that one because free Nebula Cinematograph. Ooh. Oh yeah, let's just look on Jiffy. Or no, this is Jiffer? What the heck? How is this different from Jiffy? Whoa. About this one. That's trippy. That's trippy too. That's a good call, Anne. Keep the title, but don't show the text, and then I can have some notes off to the side. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's a good call. Thank you. Because like, I feel like it's just like a rough transition from like very image heavy slides to like a bunch of text. Okay, now I'm just looking at GIFs, but let's see. Space. Ooh, that's like an infinite GIF. I feel like it's not high enough resolution though. This is the one. Yeah. Media. Source. It's really small though. I want that one, but like 1080p. Hmm. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I gotta find one of these. I feel like I've used one in the past. I just don't know where I got it from. Whoa. Let's just see what happens if I set this as the background for it. I think we can get the MP4 though. Yeah, let's grab the MP4. Universal. Okay, I need some way to read these notes. So I'm gonna send a message to myself so I can read them from my phone while I'm giving the presentation. Let's see. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, there's that. Now we're gonna get rid of all of the text. Oh, you can't see my screen, but that didn't seem to work. We need to find a better one, or one that loops a little bit better. All right. It's not a very good loop. I need like a perfect looping space. Ooh, that's cool. Okay. Let's see what we get. That's so trippy. That's gonna freak people out when they're watching the video. I'm okay with that. Okay. All right, I got my notes. I'm gonna try to go a little bit slower just so I don't mess up or trip over my words. And then we can get on to coding, because that's what we're all here for, right? We're gonna code. Okay. Now I'm curious, do I even want to show this? I guess I do. Okay, here we go again. This video will be a You know what? I'm gonna get rid of the words what is, because it's like not proper English if you try to talk about it. This video will be a quick overview of Feathers.js. I think that's what I'll say. Okay. Hello, this video will be a quick overview of Feathers.js. You can check it out at feathersjs.com. Feathers is a framework for real-time applications and REST APIs. It's super simple to get up and going. You can just install the CLI tool globally from npm, generate an app, and then get started. Now, Feathers is a library that can be used both on the client side and on the server, and it is essentially the glue code for both your front end and your back end. It is a wrapper around adapters for different databases, and there are many community plugins that allow you to use it for different front ends. The latest version 4 allows you to use either JavaScript or TypeScript, so they provide full types for all of their API. And in terms of database support, these are all the databases that are officially supported, but there are tons of community packages that add database adapters for other databases as well. In terms of communicating with a Feathers backend, you can use any one of these technologies to communicate with a backend. There are community packages that give you a nicer library for any given framework or platform that you're on, but Feathers ultimately does create a REST API or a sockets API, so you can use any one of these things to communicate with that. Now, the Feathers library is universal in that it can be used the same way on the client and the server. It's not an isomorphic library, but it does allow you to use the exact same library in both places, which make getting up and going great and easy. And once you know it, it's super easy to use on both the client and the server. Build prototypes in minutes and production-ready apps in days. Seriously. So you get instant real-time REST API. So Feathers provides CRUD functionality via services, exposing both a RESTful API and real-time backend through WebSockets automatically. So you can instantly generate a service, point it at a database table, and you instantly get a CRUD API or a WebSocket API with very, very little code. It is also service-oriented, so it gives you the structure to build service-oriented apps from day one, and when you eventually need to split your app into microservices, it's a very easy transition. Also, it's very flexible with plugins. So Feathers itself is a batteries included but easily swappable framework in that there's a very large ecosystem of plugins, including exactly what you need, no more, no less. So I encourage you to check out awesome Feathers.js, where there are tons and tons of community-created plugins, which will allow you to add functionality to your Feathers app. So again, this is Feathers.js. You can check it out at feathersjs.com, and we'll see you in the next video. Will you see me in the next video, though? I don't know. Yeah, Andres is saying your keyboard is very loud. I agree. I watched a little bit of the playback when I did the Q&A with David, and yes, my keyboard is extremely loud. The thing is, I don't have a quieter keyboard right now, so we might have to just deal, but I don't know. Topher says, I'm here for the coding and shenanigans. It's Saturday and I'm bored. This feels like hanging out with friends, or at least what I imagine hanging out with friends is like. That's great. Glad to have you here, Topher. Carlos says, this seriously makes me laugh. I'm glad. Hopefully people might find this a little bit comical. I think we have footage to work with because I'm recording right now. I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit it. I think that was perfectly fine for what we need it for. Now we can actually get coding. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours, but ultimately what we're going to do is go through the Feathers guide. So we made that video earlier, which was prerequisites. Yeah, and you know what I think I might do actually is I'll have a computer off to the side where I can see the example code, because I don't want to just copy and paste from the guide, but we're essentially going to be building the exact same thing that they build in the guide, but just with CJ explanations. Okay. What we won't cover, I think maybe I do need to talk about that at the beginning. So I might actually mention, check out the prerequisites for what you need to know before this. And then maybe I'll just mention that we're not going to cover databases. We're actually just going to use the in-memory database. Excuse me. Cool. Yeah. So I'm going to take like a 5-minute break. I'm going to get another computer so I can have notes off to the side, and then we're going to get this thing going. We're going to go through the guide. We're going to build a simple chat app. And if you keep watching, you'll be able to use the chat app, which will be great. So give me like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. See, I have my Razer computer. But like I said, I'm pretty much just going to be going through the guide. Let me show my screen. Yeah, I'm going to be going through the guide. But I don't think I'm going to show the guide while I do it, mainly because this guide could change, and I want the video to not depend on someone looking at this exact page, but the overall steps are going to be the same. Let's see. Let's catch up on the chat. Jelly says, best Saturday nights are Coding Garden Saturday nights. That's great. Alas, you can't do that. Says, could you at any point show how to set up Auth0 authentication? I'll show, maybe not today. Let's see. Yeah, so for the getting started, I'm not going to show authentication. And I'm going to do another stream very similar to this tomorrow, where I'll show more in depth, like how do you generate an app, how do you make custom hooks, that kind of thing. And I will show authentication then. So this very first app we build, we're not going to use the generator, so we don't get authentication automatically. We could add it. But when you use the generator, it actually adds authentication automatically. It supports local auth. It also supports OAuth with various services. And Auth0, I think, is like an OAuth provider, so you might be able to use that. And under the hood, it's actually using Grant. So let's look at Grant.js. Here it is. And so it uses Grant to for auth, and all of these platforms are supported. So over 180 providers, all of these have some sort of OAuth flow, and if you want to integrate with their OAuth flow, you can do that because it uses Grant under the hood, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, so they removed Passport in this version, but it is using Grant, which I think has support for a lot more things and is not tied to Express. So Passport is Express.js specific, and one of the cool things they've done is just like there exist many different database adapters, and right now there exist different protocols like REST and sockets. Now you can actually have a separate REST implementation. So before it used to be totally based on Express. What they're doing is eventually you'll be able to use Koa instead, or Happy instead. So they're doing great things. It's really cool. Rashir is saying, use MongoDB. Feathers.js is mostly used with that in real time. Yeah, but the thing is, you can use pretty much any database you want, and you'll still get those real-time features. For this first getting started example, I'm just going to use NeDB, which is like an in-memory database, meaning or file-based system database. Meaning it's not a large database. It's not meant to scale, but it's good for demonstrating things. Yeah, so Amit is saying the Feather CLI will ask you if you want to use Auth0, so there is native integration. Cool. All right, so what I'm going to do now is kind of just get to coding. So I'm not going to have any slide decks, and I think I want to start fresh with just like a somewhat empty folder. So let's see, in the Feathers quick start, they make a directory called Feathers Basics. Okay, that's what I'll do. I am going to change my little emojis here. Session preferences, profiles. Oh, I don't want to open a new one. I want to edit it. Here we go. Let's just get a bunch of bird emojis. Oh, wow. They have a peacock emoji? And a swan emoji? And a parrot emoji? A penguin? Oh, there's an eagle too? This is going to be great. So many birds. Duck. And an owl, of course. Oh. Let's see what we get. That's great. I think I'm going to set a like a decent background image because people are going to be able to see my my background. Maybe I'll just set it to be like a solid color. How about, yeah, we'll do Planet Earth. Planet Earth. Okay. And I'm going to close the YouTube chat here, but I will have it up on another screen so I can communicate with you all while I'm doing this. YouTube. Cool. All right, there's that. There's that. All right. I'm also going to hide my face for this one. Yep. I think I'm going to hide my status bar up here too. I'm going to be a little bit more professional. System preferences, general, automatically hide and show the menu bar. There we go. Super clean. Okay. Hello, this video is going to be a quick start for getting started with Feathers.js. Now this video is not going to use a generator or any boilerplate. We're really just going to show how easy it is to get set up and going with Feathers.js. So the first thing we need to do is make a folder. So I'm going to make a folder called Feathers Basics. Go into that folder. And now I'm going to initialize this folder as an npm project. So I can do npm init-y. That will create a package JSON with all of my default settings. The next thing I'll need to do is install Feathers.js. So we can do that with npm install. We do @feathers.js/feathers. And this will install it and save it into my package JSON. So we're going to go ahead and open this directory in VS Code. And we can see our package JSON lists Feathers.js as a dependency. So that's awesome. All right, so the first thing we'll do is create some client-side JavaScript. Wait. Never mind. Not client-side. Server-side. Yeah, it's going to be server-side. I'm going to edit this, but here we go. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is to create our server-side code. So for that, I'm going to create a new file. We'll call this app.js. Now inside of this file, I need to bring in feathers. So I'll create a variable called feathers, and that's going to be equal to require @feathers/feathers. Once I've brought it in, I can now create an application. So I'll just say const app equals feathers invoked. So now I have a feathers application. Just a second. Okay. So we have our Feathers application, but now we want to create a service. So a service is going to allow us to, what is a service going to do? So, okay, now we have our Feathers application and we need to create a service. So a service is essentially what will manage any communication with our database. So finding things, inserting things, updating things, and this service is going to be in charge of all of that. So first I'll create a class called the message service. Here in the constructor, we're just going to have an array of messages. So I'll say this.messages is an empty array. And so this is essentially our database for now. It's just going to be an array of messages. And then we need to implement all of the service methods. So the first method we'll need is find. And this currently will just return all of our message. So we're just going to say return this.messages. So when we call the find method on our service, give us the entire array of messages. Great. Our service also needs a function called create. So we're going to create a function called create. This function will take in the thing that is being created. In this case, it's going to be a particular message that's being created. And so what we'll do is we'll just create a message object. And that is going to have an ID. For now, we're just going to use the length of the array. So we'll say this.messages.length. And then a message will also have a text property. And we're just going to grab that off of this data. So we'll just say data.text. And then once we have the message, we need to push it into our message array. So we'll just say this.messages.push message. Great. So far we have our find method, which just returns all of our messages. We have our create method, which inserts a message into our array. And what we'll also do in the create method is just return that message that got created. So that way you have access to it. Okay, so this is a very simple service. And now what we need to do is we need to tell Feathers that this service exists. So right here, we'll just say app.use. We'll name our service. In this case, we'll call it messages. And then we'll pass in our service. So we need to create an instance of our message service. So now that that service is available to Feathers, we can both use it on the front end and the back end to communicate with that service. Now let's just get an idea of how we can tap into some of the real-time features of Feathers. And we can say so now let's just see. What am I doing? I'm going to edit this. Okay. Okay, so now let's just see how we can actually take advantage of some of the real-time features of Feathers. So what I'll do here is I'll say app.service messages. Now that gives me access to the messages service that I just registered on line 24. And then we can say on. Now on allows us to tap into various events that occur throughout the life cycle of any request. But here I'm just going to say on created. We'll have access to the message. And then we can just log a new message was created. And we can pass in that message. And so the cool thing about this is because Feathers now knows about that service, anytime the create method is called, it's going to fire off this created event, and we'll actually see that logged to the console. It may not seem that cool right now, but the cool thing about it, I keep saying cool, but what's cool about it is later on, we can actually tap into this kind of thing on the front end. So when a new message gets created, automatically show it. Okay, so now that we have our service, we'll just create a method that we can call, which essentially makes our service ready and available. So where's my mouse? There it is. So we'll create a method called main, which is going to be a nice little function. And this will be an async function. And then we will get access to that service. So we'll say app.service. You know what I'm realizing now? Yeah, I actually haven't gone through the guide yet. So this is really just an example of what a service is and like what's happening under the hood. We're not actually going to use this code. I'm going to have to re-record all of that. But now I know what we're actually doing, so it'll be a little bit easier. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. Yeah, I am going to have to record all of this. But because we're already here, let's just keep coding, see what happens, and then I'm going to code it all over again and pretend like I know what I'm doing, because I already did it once. So what we're doing here is we get access to the messages service, and then we're just going to create a new message. So here we'll just say text is hello feathers. And essentially what will happen is this will create our message under the hood, but when that happens, this event handler here is going to get called, and we'll see that a message was created. So that's awesome. And then we can just do it again. And we'll say hello again, and that's going to insert another message, but we'll see every time that it gets called. And then we can say app.service messages dot find, and that should return all of our messages. It's an async method, so find all of our messages, and then we'll just log them. Cool. Super simple app. We now invoke the function, and that should do it. Okay, so now that we have this super basic service, we can actually run the code. So if I say node app.js, we should see a message was created, and then we see all of the messages. Great. Now let's do this all over again. Let's see. Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to do this all over again. I'll let you see my apologies to everyone watching. So essentially what we're doing is we show like the basics of a service. We just show how these things work. And then we can reuse this to actually start implementing a backend that a front end will talk to. But this is kind of just like first steps. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take all of this, delete it. We're actually just going to delete that entire folder. Start over, make another quick little getting started video. Cool. Yeah, Amit is saying, after seeing this, the Feather CLI will feel like magic. And I think that's the point, because I feel sorry for everyone who's just waiting for me to get to the code, because even this isn't that great. Like, once we get to the CLI, it's gonna blow your minds. Blow your minds. Carlos says, this reminds me of Coding Train. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I'm just kidding. Coding Train is great. Cool. All right. Let's do it again. And yeah, and I think I'll give it a little bit of introduction. Okay, here we go. Hello, in this video, we're going to show you how to get started with Feathers.js. Now, we will not be using any boilerplate or any CLI tool. I really just want to show the basics of how a service works and kind of lay the groundwork for some of the things that we're going to build later on. So the first thing we'll do is create a directory. So let's call it Feathers Basics. We'll go into that directory, and then we need to initialize it as an npm repository. So we'll do npm init-y. That will create my package JSON. I'm going to go ahead and open this up in VS Code. So we can see we now have a package JSON. It's totally basic, but next thing we'll need to do is actually install Feathers. So for this, I'll do npm install at feathers.js/feathers. And we can see that has now appeared in our dependencies. All right, so let's get started with our first app. So I'm going to create a folder called app.js. And now inside of here, we can start coding with Feathers. First thing we need to do is bring in the Feathers dependency. So I'll say const feathers equals require at feathers.js/feathers. And then we can create a Feathers app. And that's as simple as app equals Feathers. Great. So we have an app. Now we want a service. So for now, I'm going to create a super basic service. I'm going to do it manually. You'll see in some of the later videos that typically you don't have to do this. These services will just be created automatically for you. But I do want to kind of show you how easy it is to create a service and what kind of goes into it. So first thing we'll do is we'll create a class called messageIsService, or let's call it the message service. And then this will have a constructor, and in the constructor, we'll just set a property called messages to be an empty array. So right now, we don't have a real database. We're kind of just using this array as our database to demonstrate how all of this is going to work. Next up, we'll need to implement the find function. So this is going to be an async method called find. And in this case, we're just going to return the entire array. So we'll return this.messages. Simple as that. Next, we're going to create a create function. So this will be, again, an async function called create. It's going to take in some data, and that's what we're going to use to actually create this message. Then we'll create a message object. It needs an ID for now, we're just going to use the length of the array. So we'll say this.messages.length. And it needs some text, and we're just going to use data.text. So the text property would have been passed into the create function. Okay. So now that we have the message, we want to insert it into our database, quote unquote. In this case, we're just putting it into the array. So we're going to say this.messages.push message. And then lastly, in our create method, we're just going to return that message that got created. Awesome. So here's our super simple message service. Again, we don't have a real database right now. We're just using an array. We've implemented the find and create functions. And so now we can actually register this service with feathers. So to do that, I'll say app.service. I'll give it a name. In this case, I'm going to call it the messages service. And then I need to create an instance of this message service. So right here, I'll say new message service. Awesome. So we've registered the service and now it's available for use. One thing I'll do is I'll tap into the created event. And so we can essentially log to the console anytime a message is created using our service. So I'm going to say app.service with messages. When you call app.service directly like this, this will actually give you a reference to the underlying service. So now that we have the instance of the service, we're going to say .on. We want to listen for the created method. We're going to get some message that was created. And then we can just log message was created. And then we'll pass in that message. And again, this is really just to show you how easy it is to now tap into those service methods after we have them up and going. So there's that. Now let's actually create a simple little function which will connect to our service, create some messages, find some messages, and let's see what happens. So I'm just going to create a function called main. And this will be an async function, so I can use those async functions. Or I can await those async functions inside of here. And so first thing I'll do is just create a new message. So we're going to say await app.service messages.create. And remember, create accepts in an object, which we'll use to actually create that message. So I'm going to pass in an object with a text property that says, hello, feathers. Awesome. And then let's do it again. So let's insert another message. And I'll say, hello, again. Awesome. And so now that we've inserted two messages, we should be able to call the find method, which will give us back all of our messages. So let's do that. So I'll say messages equals await app.service messages dot find. And we implemented this method up here. It just returns that array of messages. And if all of this worked correctly, we should see those two messages inside of this array here. Let's call that messages. Cool. And then let's just log it to the console. We'll say all messages. Awesome. So again, this is just a super basic example, but let's see what happens. So I'll invoke this main function, which will insert a message, insert another message, find all the messages, and then log them out. But if you remember, I actually tapped into the created event up here. So anytime a message was created, we'll see this log to the console as well. All right, let's see it happen. So to run this code, I just need to do node app.js. Oh no! I messed up. Did somebody catch it? Line 66. That's not line 66. Oh, sorry, app.use. Oh, I messed up right here. No! Okay. We're gonna do this. I'll slice this in though. Okay, I'm actually getting an error, and it looks like line 24, I was supposed to say app.use. Okay, so that was my mistake. But so when you're registering a service, you absolutely say app.use, and then when you're accessing a service, you can do app.service. Okay, so now that that's fixed, we should be able to run our code, and there we go. So we can see right here it logs message was created, and then we can see all of the messages. So the really powerful thing here is we created a very generic service, and then under the hood, Feathers is firing off events when certain things happen, so we can actually tap into that like here. We can create, we can find them, everything is good to go. So this was a super basic intro to services and a little bit about how Feathers works. In the next video, we're going to introduce Express and sockets and actually build a backend API that uses this service that we just created. See you there. Dang it, small typo. I don't want to re-record that whole video. I think I'll leave it in. Yeah. Yeah, Topher is just mentioning about this being like coding train. And Alka, yeah, Alka was here on my last stream. Not right now though, but that's okay. I'm sure he's doing just fine. Yeah, Yasir says, hey CJ, please sometime go through your workflow on how you approach a problem and devise a solution for it, and also make some videos over unit testing. I have a few. So if you search my channel, just search Coding Garden Test-Driven Development. I can show you doing test-driven development and writing unit tests. But yes. Hello, Andreas Holt, who says, finally get to see you live. It's been a joy to watch the Code War streams. So helpful. Glad to hear it. Okay. I'm very sad that I messed up that line of code, but let's keep moving. So in this next part, we're creating an API server. Yeah, so we're going to install that. Our messages service remains exactly the same. We then need to set up all of our middlewares. Cool. Okay. Here we go. In this video, I will show you how to add Express and Socket.io to your Feathers service that we created in the last video. So the first thing we will need to do is install the Feathers Socket.io and Feathers Express dependencies. So we'll do npm install. We'll do @feathers.js/express and @feathers.js/socket.io. Go. Awesome. So I have those dependencies, and now we'll just start to rework this to actually work with Express and Socket.io. First thing I'll do is bring in those dependencies. So I'll create a variable called Express, and that's going to be equal to @feathers.js/express. And then I'll create a variable called Socket.io, and that's going to be equal to @feathers.js/socket.io. Awesome. I'm going to move this creation of the app down below the service, but our service is going to remain exactly the same. We're just essentially going to show how to expose this service over REST and sockets. So I'm going to move the creation of my app down here. But what I need to do actually is invoke that Express function instead. So I'm going to create an Express app and pass Feathers into it. And now that this is an Express app, we can set up our all our middlewares and get everything up and going for a backend application. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll say app.use. And again, this is now an Express thing because we're registering some middlewares. We'll say express.json. So this is our body parsing middleware. So that way we can actually send JSON data to our server. We'll then do app.use express.url encoded. We'll give it some options that say extended true. And this allows our server to also accept form data instead of just JSON. So if someone is submitting form data, our server can understand that as well. We'll then set up a static serve. So we'll just say app.use express.static. We need to point it at a directory. In this case, we're just going to point it at the current directory that we're in. So in Node.js, you can do that with __ dir name. And now we need to set up the actual protocols that our Feathers app is going to use. So I'll say app.configure and pass in express.rest. Oh, not that. express.rest. And so this actually adds the REST protocol for our app so that we can communicate it using a REST API. And then we'll also add our sockets protocol. So if I say app.configure and pass in socket IO invoked, now our API can handle real-time with sockets. It's that easy. All right. And so this line of code, which we showed in the last video, is registering the service. But now instead of just saying messages, we're actually going to do /messages. And so what this will do is the messages service is now available via a REST endpoint at /messages, just like it would be if you were creating all of the routes manually yourself. We'll also set up our error handler. So we'll do app.use. We can do express.errorhandler, and this is an error handler provided by Feathers, which is a little bit better than the built-in Express error handler. Okay, for now, I'm actually going to get rid of all of this code, which was listening for the created event and creating and inserting messages. We're going to write our own code to do that in a second. So we're using the error handler. Now let's listen for any connection to our server. So if I say app.on connection, this function will get called anytime a socket connects to our server. So we're going to get access to the connection. And then we're actually going to join that user to the everybody channel. So we'll say app.channel. Everybody. And we'll say join with the connection. And essentially that puts them in this channel so that they can communicate with anyone else that has joined our server there. Now we'll do app.publish. And this is essentially any event that happens, we're going to publish into this everybody channel. So we'll say when we get access to data, then we'll say app.channel everybody. And this essentially makes all events available to anyone that's in this everybody channel. So when something gets created, when something gets deleted or updated, all of those events will happen in the everybody channel, and we're publishing those there. Awesome. One of the last things we need to do is just start up our server. So if you're familiar with Express, it's the same thing. So we just do app.listen. For now, we're going to listen on port 3000. And when it is listening, we are going to just log to the console. Feathers is listening on http://localhost port. And instead of 3000, I'm actually going to use 3030 because that is what is used in the Feathers documentation. So it's listening there. Great. And for now, just for good measure, let's actually insert something into our messages service. So I'm going to say app.service messages. Remember, this gives us access to the messages service. And I'll say .create. Text will be hello world from the server. Awesome. So now that I have this, once I start it up, I will actually have a full REST API on /messages where I can actually interact with this service that we created before. So let's give it a try. If I say node app.js, that'll start it up. It's listening on 3030, so let's actually go there. And right now it says cannot get / because I actually don't have anything registered there. But if I go to /messages, we do see one thing in the array. And so that's what's really cool about setting up Feathers like this. I created my service, and now Feathers instantly knows how to make a REST API out of this. So actually, let's just try creating a new message. And right now, we're just going to do that through Postman to show that it works. Just a second. Yeah, I just realized I have a bunch of stuff open here. Do I want to demonstrate that? They don't demonstrate that in the guide. No, I'm not going to show it. because in the next part, we build a front end that will actually post to it. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Okay. And that's how simple it is to get an API up and running with Feathers. In the next video, we'll show how to actually build a front end, which will communicate with this API, create new messages, and list the existing messages. See you there. Meritron is saying, I went away for a bit. Are we close to the end? No, not even close. So I've recorded, technically I've recorded 4 videos so far. I have to go edit them, but there's like 4 videos in there. I mean, that's not bad for 3 hours work, right? And yeah, we'll jump into the next video in a second. Hygor is saying, it's very nice to enjoy to see the live video. I always get the recorded part. Yeah, glad you got to tune in. Nassar is asking, is it React or Vue? We're actually just going to do it with vanilla.js. So we're following the guide. We're going to build a super basic front end using vanilla.js. Cool. Just going to familiarize myself with the example, and then we'll get coded on the front end. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to prepare just a little bit because there are quite a few script tags that it uses, and I want to just be able to copy and paste those. Oh, Meritron is saying, I always thought the IDs of REST resources start at 1. Really, the ID is more a thing of the database. Yeah, so if you're using some SQL database and it's the first thing in the database, it'll have an ID of 1. In our case, this was just a super simple array. So we were just setting the ID to be the length of the array. And again, this is just super simple. Later on, we're going to connect to a real database, and it handles all the ID generation and everything. So... Amit is saying, aren't these videos too small? I mean, the one we are trying to record. No, because we want them to be consumable. So each one is probably at most 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. That way someone can just watch the video and then maybe they also follow the guide, but the video gives them a quick overview of what's going to happen in the guide. But they are all meant to be like fairly short, separate videos. Okay, let's grab our links. Feathers.com. Get started. Quick start in the browser. Yeah, so that's our CSS. That's our chat CSS. Weird. Is there a send message? On submit, send message. Which should call this. Weird. I kind of don't like how they mix like registering an event in the DOM with vanilla JavaScript. Like I personally would have added the submit listener inside the JavaScript. I'm going to try to stay true to the docs though, so it doesn't differ too much. Okay, so those are the 2 things we need. Awesome. And I'm just going to get my index.html ready to go. Okay, if I do that, that should be okay. It has some extra stuff, but I don't think it will confuse people too much if we generate our own HTML like that. Okay, so we'll generate the app, we'll add the CSS, We'll create a basic form. We'll open it in the browser and make sure that we can see it. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, am I ready? So someone mentioned I'm not drinking iced tea. I am drinking yerba mate. I've been sipping on this all morning. Let's go. Okay. Quick stretch. Oh, is my break timer not on? Hasn't popped up once. Update. There we go. Ugh. Okay. In this video, we will build a front end to talk to the service, the backend service that we created in the last video. So the first thing we need to do is create an index.html file. And inside of here, we'll get things going. So I'll just create a basic HTML. The title here is going to be feathers example. And then we need to bring in some CDN links. So the first thing is to bring in some styles. So we have some base styles for this chat application that we're building to list out all of these messages. And so we'll just bring that in here so we don't have to create any custom styles. So that's done. All right, let's create just like a basic form so people can submit new messages. So inside of here, we'll create a main. This will have an ID of main and a class of container. Inside here, we'll just have an h1 that says welcome to feathers. And actually, before we get any further, let's make sure that all of this is working. So in the last video, when we created the backend, we actually set up static serve. So particularly line 28 is setting up static serve. And now that we have an index.html file, it should serve that file up. However, if we try to go there, it works. Okay. Yeah, it looks like I thought I might have had to restart my server, but I didn't. So great. We have a welcome to feathers page. So let's keep on coding. Next thing is we'll actually create that form for submitting new messages. So we'll create a form. It will not have any action. We'll have a class of form. And we'll set up the onSubmit. So whenever this form is submitted, we're going to call a function that we need to write. So here we'll say onSubmit. And this is going to be send message. So we will write a function called send message, and but we'll also prevent the default action. Cool. Inside the form, we need an input with a type of text. The ID here will be message text. And the placeholder will be enter message here. Okay. And then we need a button for sending this message. So we'll have a button. Inside the button, it will say send message. This button will have a type of submit and a class of button-primary. And so all of these classes that I'm mentioning are actually coming from the CDNs. So we don't have to worry about those for now, but we should get some basic styling. So if we refresh the page, there we go. We have a text box and a nice little submit button. Awesome. Right below the form, I'm going to have an H2 that says, here are the current messages. Refresh. Cool. And so now any messages that are either on the server or that get created will pop up right below that H2. Awesome. So now we have all of our HTML ready to go. Let's actually start writing some JavaScript. Now, the first thing we'll need to do is bring in the client-side JavaScript for Feathers. So I have those CDN links here. So we need to bring in the actual Feathers library. In this case, we're just pulling it in from unpackage. And then we need to bring in the socket.io client library. So I'm going to put both of these at the bottom below the main. And then I'm going to put my script tag right below those. Cool. And it's important that any code we write that's using Feathers, it comes after the Feathers CDN. So this is where my code will go. First thing we'll do is set up socket IO. So we'll create a socket, and this is going to be equal to IO with the location of our server. And in this case, our server is at localhost 3030. So that's where we'll tell it. We'll say http://localhost 3030, and that will instantly connect to the sockets that we have set up on the back end. Awesome. Next up, we'll create our Feathers app on the client. And you'll notice that this is almost exactly what we did on the back end. And that's one of the really cool things about Feathers is this library is the exact same one as we're using on the back end with the exact same API. But in this case, it's just going to be communicating with that backend service. Okay, and so here we'll do app.configure. We'll do feathers.socket.io, and we'll pass in that actual socket connection. And so this enables the real-time communication with our server. Cool. Now we'll create that send message function that we mentioned up here. And so this is a function that will actually send a message to the server, which will insert it into the messages array. And then we should get an event that it was inserted, and we can display that stuff on the page. So here, this is going to be an async function called send message. And inside of here, the first thing we'll do is get access to this message input so we can get the value from it. So we'll say const message input equals document.get element by ID. And the ID we want is message-text. Awesome. So we have access to that particular input. And now we'll actually talk to the service to create a new message. So right here, I will say await app.service messages.create. Here I'll have the text, and this is going to be message input.value. So that'll give us whatever the user has typed into the form. And that will actually send a request to the server to create this message. After that, we'll clear out the input. So we'll just say message input.value equals an empty string. And that should clear it out so that after it's sent, it's now empty. Awesome. Next thing we'll do is we'll create a function that just will handle adding a new message to the page. So this function is going to be called add message. It will get access to the message that we need to add. And essentially, we're just going to append an element to the page. So I am going to create an element. Let's call it message element. We'll say document.create element. And this is just going to be a p tag. And then we're going to set the text content. Actually, we'll set the inner text to be message.text. So this creates a p tag and then sets the inner text on that p tag to be the text of the message. And then now we need to append it to the array here. So we want the message to be appended right below this h2. So we'll say document.get element by ID, and we particularly want the main element. And we'll say append child, and we'll append this message element. So that will create the p tag, set the text, and then append it to main. Awesome. Now, the last thing we need to do is actually listen for when new messages get created so that those can be added to the page automatically. And we'll also, when the page first loads, get all of the messages from the server so that those show up on page load. So here, we'll create a function called main. This is going to be an async function. And first thing we'll do is call the find method on our service to get access to all of the messages so that way we can add them to the page. So we'll say messages equals app.service messages.find, and that will give us all the messages. And then for each message, so we'll say messages.forEach, we want to add message. So that will call the function we created before, which will essentially add all of those messages to the page when the page first loads. Great. Now, the last thing we need to do is actually listen for when a new message is created and then call our add message function. So let's do that. So we'll say app.service messages dot on created. And then again, we'll just pass it our add message function. So whenever a message is created, we want to call add message. Awesome. Finally, we need to invoke our main function, which will get all of this up and going. And we're ready to test it. Let's see. So if I refresh the page, messages.forEach is not a function. Let's see what we did wrong. Oh, we need to await this. Yes. So app service messages.find is an async function because it actually needs to request it from the server. So we absolutely need to put await in front of that to make sure that we wait for it to finish, which will then give us access to the messages array. Awesome. Let's try again. Here we go. So when the page loads, we see that there is one message on the server. Let's add a new one. Hello again. Send message. This clears out, and then we see that the message pops up there. Right? What's cool to note about this is we didn't, in the send message here, in the send message function, we didn't manually add it to the page. We just sent it to the server. But then when the server alerted that something was created, that's when we actually add it to the page. So the cool demonstration here is if I were to open up a new window and go to this website, it's totally real-time enabled. Hello from the other window. So when I click send message here, it pops up in both windows. And that's all because of this real-time aspect. So we essentially just enabled sockets. Now we have that real-time aspect so we can see when new messages are created. Awesome. So that's it for the basic introduction to how Feathers works and how to create a super simple app. In the next videos, we're going to go a little bit more in depth. We'll use the generator to create a more full-fledged app. It will have authentication, and we'll get a lot more in depth to how Feathers works. Thanks for watching. How'd I do? Yeah, hello Linus, welcome to the stream. You said your face cam was off. Yes, so I'm recording these videos. They're gonna be edited separately and most likely, if David likes them, put on the Feathers.js website. So yeah, I didn't want to show my face because who wants to look at me while you're trying to learn how to code? Cool. Yeah, I mean, usually my streams are always recording, but I am going to go back in and that thing you just saw me do, I'm going to edit as a standalone video. Yeah. Yeah, Merchan points out something very, very interesting that I also thought was weird, but it's technically possible. So when you set up events in the DOM, you're actually giving it an expression to evaluate when this event happens. And this expression has access to a variable called event. So it's like super weird, but inside of this expression, like the variable event is in scope. And so what we're saying is when it's submitted, invoke send message and prevent the default action. What we also could have done, technically, is that, which I think makes a little bit more sense. Maybe we make a pull request to the docs, but basically that says prevent the default action and then invoke the send message function. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this will break it. Yeah, that works. But that's the weird thing about adding DOM events inside your HTML. It's like, it's not a reference to a function. It's literally an expression that will be evaluated. Yeah. Merchan says, that was pretty sick. Cool. Linus says, I want to look at you when learning to code. I appreciate that. Destruction of Humankind says, which keyboard are you using? Mine just cracked. I shared some links earlier. Katoli, yeah. Katoli, do you have a link that you can maybe share? Try that out. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna put that back to the way it was, though. Let's see. Okay, yeah, now things get a little more complex. So I've been streaming for 3.5 hours. I think that's it for me today. So I'm going to edit this into several separate videos, and then tomorrow I'm going to stream again, but that's when I'll be building a more complex application. I'll use the CLI. We'll have a real database, all of that good stuff. But I got to take a break. At least sit down for a while and not talk and like edit these videos. So. Linus says, in the chill stream, I asked you to build a URL shortener, but now I actually managed to build it myself and with a custom auth in Mongo and all that stuff. I built a URL shortener on stream a while back. If you go to puny.li, I built this on stream. It was a noob quest, actually, or a newbie Tuesday, so I built this with Tony. It has a MongoDB on the back end. There's no auth. It's totally open. Cool. Yep. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for bearing with me. There are still surprisingly roughly 50 people watching, which baffles me because the first hour was me creating a slide deck. Cool. Okay. Actually, yeah. Let me share the link to the keyboard. Just because I totally can't share links, but just a second. Do 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 do. Oh, I'm trying to move my mouse over to this computer. That doesn't work. Also, copying and pasting doesn't work. I just need to pull up the YouTube chat. Okay, so there's that one, and I'll show these in just a second. That. Ooh, and I'll share this too because I really like it. Yeah, destruction of humankind and saying add it to my gear list. I need to because people ask about my keyboard all the time. I do want to show that. Want to show that. Cool. I think I'm ready to show my screen. Okay, so this is the keyboard that I'm using right now. As you can see, it's only $35, but it actually comes with a key remover tool and a couple of extra keys. And what I like about this one is the USB cable is detachable. So you can put a shorter cable on there or a longer cable, but it's detachable and replaceable, which is pretty sweet. And then the keys themselves are not individually RGB. You just get everything on or everything off. There's a few different patterns, like it can cycle, but each key doesn't have an individual color. They're all that color that you see right there. So this one's cool. It's super cheap. This one I ordered recently and actually really like. It's a bit more clackety. And this one is just all red, which I also like. This one does not come with a removable USB cable, but that's totally fine. It still works for what I need. It does come with a key remover and the switches are replaceable, which is cool. And then this thing I ordered recently, which I really like. So it's like a giant mouse pad. I'm sure if you're a gamer, you probably use something like this, but I did not realize how much I don't know, not needed, but something like this at my workspace makes working at the computer like much more pleasurable, I guess. Like you can move your mouse in a lot of different places. It's a nice little place to set your phone. And so in my office upstairs, I actually have a setup very similar to this with a big, huge mouse pad. So that thing's super cool. I sent the link in the chat to that as well. Cool. All right. Great to see you too, Katoli. Resman, thank you, and Merchan, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I was a bit more ambitious. I thought maybe I would go further, but I spent way too long making very simple slide decks. and lots of people watched. But yeah, tune in tomorrow. Lots more stuff. Click those Amazon links. You don't have to if you want to. All right, I'm gonna go now. Oh, and for those of you that just tuned in, check out this new, I guess I showed it a couple times, but yeah, this new Feathers Coding Garden logo. It's pretty sweet. Cool. Yeah, I think that's it. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Until next time, here's this.